Using a Honeybook contact or lead form is the very beginning of creating this awesome client experience and is your first step to streamlining your online business. So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to create a contact form and a lead form, and we're going to discuss the best case uses for each type of form, as well as Honeybook has now released a new feature where you can now sell your digital products. So, like your ebooks, your workbooks, your video lessons right inside of Honeybook. And if you have been following along our streamlined your online business with Honeybook YouTube series, this is video number 3 of that series. So, in case you miss any of the previous videos, I will post video number 1 and number 2 in the description box below. And in case you're new here, I'm Kenniqua, and I'm a Squarespace website designer and system strategist. And I help my clients level up their visibility online, income, and their life through website design, digital products, and streamlined workflows. Okay, so let's get our terminology straight for a second. So, a lead form. So, the best cases for lead forms is a lead form is best for when you want to bring in a new lead or client into your account without having to go through and create a project inside of Honeybook up front. Now, a contact form is where you go through and you gather inquiries from your leads. They can easily be embedded into your website and they only require just a little bit of information. So, using a lead form, a contact form, or manually adding someone are going to be the 3 ways that you can get leads into your Honeybook account. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into how to go through and create a contact form inside of your Honeybook account. And just remember to watch to the end of the video because I'm going to share with you Honeybook's new feature of how you can go through and sell your digital products using Honeybook. Okay, so I'm currently inside of my Honeybook account, and all you would need to do is go to Tools and then go to Contact Forms. Now, this is a contact form that we already have created. We have several contact forms that we do currently have that we do use. But if starting from scratch, all you would need to do is just click on Add Contact Form. This will actually bring up like a template form that you could use, which I recommend using this and just adding in different questions. And if you want to add in pictures, you can definitely do that. And I'm going to show you how to do that now. So right now we have our first name, email address, we have phone number, the project date. So if the type of business that you have, like I do website design, I do like to know what the project date, when you would like to start the project. Something like address, you may not necessarily need that. So what you would do is as I hover over this, you notice that a trash can button or icon comes up. Simply just go through and hit that trash can and it will go through and delete that option. What type of service or project are you looking for? Now, in my previous video, I think it was video number 2 that we talked about, we pulled from the project types. This section is pulled from those company settings that we talked about in video number 2, or your project types. So this is where you can go through your company settings is where you can go through, and this is where this is actually pulling from. Now, the beauty of having these on here, if you offer different services, so that's pretty much what that company, that project type is. It's the different services that you're going through and you're offering if you're offering different things. But this will allow you to be able to add automation onto this form as well and pull depending on the project type. So, what I mean by this is, for example, I have a Black Friday website sale going on, right? I created a contact form for my Black Friday website sale. And when someone goes through and fills out that form, they get a different automation set up and a different email sent to them than they do if they were to just put in for maybe like our Honeybook CRM setups, right? So you can go through and customize that. How did you hear about this? Again, that is one of those sections that is pulled from your company settings. So be sure that you do go through and fill out those company settings and then tell us more about your project. So maybe you need to go through and you need to add additional questions. All you would need to do is just hit this plus sign. So under each one of these sections, as I hover over them, you'll notice that a plus sign will come up. All you need to do is just simply just hit that plus sign and you're going to be presented with different options. So we have different question options. These are different fields, custom fields that you can go through and create. Like there's two fields, long form, short form, drop down boxes. And then you also have some suggested ones, which are basically already on this form with the exception of the location because we just removed it. You can also add in like your content section. So this is if you wanted to, let's say, add in a graphic, or maybe you wanted to add in some type of divider in between each section with like an image or columns, or you wanted to put more words on your form, right? You can go through and do that. So I'm going to just go ahead and hit question. And maybe I wanted to go through and just do a single choice question. And so I'm just going to put on this form, just test question. And then it's going to have it where I can put in the choices. So, I'm just going to do answer one, answer two, just for demo purposes. And then, of course, you can add additional options, right? So if you click that add option, you can add in additional options. Now, what you can also do is you can do or check the settings for change settings for each one of the questions that you have by clicking on this gear icon as you hover over it. So when you do that, you're able to go through and even change the question type. So maybe you changed your mind. Maybe you chose single choice, but maybe you wanted to have a multiple choice, or maybe you wanted to have something else. You can go through and you can change that type by just going to that settings gear option and just changing that type of question. You can also indicate if it's something that you want required or not required and just simply toggle it on or toggle it off. Let's say you wanted to add a header onto this. So I'm going to go ahead and go back and hit the plus sign again. And maybe I wanted to have an image because maybe I wanted to kind of spruce it up a little bit. I'm going to go to content, and then I want to add an image with text on top. So I'm just going to hit this text on image, and that's going to pull up. But you notice how it pulled up under this field here, and I want to move it. So the six little dots that's right here on this left-hand side, I can easily just pull it. I can hold it down, my mouse down, and just drag it where I needed to go. So if I wanted to go to the top, if I needed to go a little bit lower, wherever I needed to go, I'm able to go through and do that. Now, as far as choosing your image, at the top right here, it is going to be like a gallery looking image item. So I'm going to click on that, and you're able to go through and you can upload, or you can also choose from your library if you already have pictures inside of your library. So these are some of the pictures that I have. I'm able to go through and move and adjust the pictures as needed. So however you want to go through and make those adjustments. And so I have this here. Now, what I would recommend, so now I can go through and I can add in some text here. So the text is, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And then maybe I want to make it bold. And then maybe I want to change the color so it can stand out a little bit. And that's what I put, right? And so this is pretty much what the form would look like. So once it's pretty much done, you can go through and you can hit publish. Now, go ahead to, before you hit publish, make sure that you go through and you check your settings, that everything in your settings looks fine with you. So in the settings, you have your whoever the account person is. You can also go through and invite team members. So if you have team members, you can invite them. And keep in mind that it's automatically set to get this default Honeybook message, which is basically just a general thank you message. But you can also create and enter your own custom URL. So what we like to do, we tend to go through and put like our website as that redirect, and we just create like a page on the back end that just says thank you for submitting your whatever it is that they submitted their inquiry. We normally will have like a thank you page on the back end of our website. Now down here, this automate contact form, this is going to help you to be able to automate this particular form. So based off of the selections, remember I was saying about these project type sections, and these are going to come into play if you have different project types, you have different services that you're offering. Under this automate your contact form, this is where you can sign this form to a particular project if you want to. Okay. If you don't assign it, it's going to be a default form that you can later then just use as something that you can automate later. So you could still automate it, but it's going to automate basically every response from that particular form versus automated per project type, if that makes sense. And that makes sense when we talk about automation, which we will do in this video series. But this is just the basics of going through and doing the contact form. So you could change this. Like I said, it has all of the project types that we do have here. And you can choose if you want this particular form to be associated with a particular project type. Otherwise, you would just leave it blank and it will just be a general form. Then you will publish the page. And once you go through and publish that page, there's something that we're missing here, the custom URL, we're not going to do that. And then you just go through and publish it. You will get your embed code. It will allow for you to be able to embed it on your site. Now, just from a website designer's brain here, what I would recommend is, even though like a form like this, it looks very pretty, in my opinion, with just having an image on there, but just keep in mind of where you're placing that form. So if the image that you have on this form doesn't really look good in the spot that you're embedding it on your website, I would recommend not having a header image at the top of the form. It all depends on where you're going to embed that contact form, of whether or not it's going to even look good there. So just kind of keep that in mind. You can also go through and send a link to the form. So for example, at the bottom of here, you normally can go and get out of options here. There is a link here, which this gives you the link to copy the link to the form. So like, for example, when I stated that we had like a Black Friday for our website design, we didn't embed that form onto our website. We simply have a link that we shared to allow individuals that were interested in that Black Friday website design sale, that they would have the link to that particular form. You can customize anything inside of contact forms. I always recommend going through and naming your form. So name your form, because just like us, we have several different forms, as you can see. So it is very helpful that if you go through and you do name your form. You can also go through and change any colors or fonts, anything that you don't like and you want to customize it to your business, you can certainly go through and do that. Okay, so now we're going to talk about lead forms. So lead forms, again, are best case uses when you want to go through and get a client or a lead into your Honeybook account, but you don't want to have to go through and create a project for them. So we use lead forms a lot of different ways, and there's so many different case uses for this. But when you go to lead forms, they do give you some good ideas of what you can use this for. So one-time consultations, introductory calls, inquiries, instant bookings, speaking engagements, mini sessions, VIPs, and digital products. I'm going to show you guys all of that. Now, the beauty of it is that you do have a way of going through, of course, and using a template, which are provided inside of Honeybook, and then customizing them to go through and fit your particular business. So I am actually just going to click on, for example, let's put it in preview mode. This is one of our forms that we now use for booking one-on-one sessions. Now, prior to, I was going through and I had a Acuity scheduler to be able to go through and book my one-on-ones. But now that I can go through with this feature, lead forms is fairly new this year, that I'm now able to go through and use a lead form to just have our clients go through here and book. So we simply just did pretty much the same thing. As it works the same way, almost just like a contact form. So we have the header image, and we're able to go through and embed our scheduler. So in video number 2, we talked about setting up your scheduler. And so I have my scheduler built for my one-on-one consults, where someone's able to go here. They can look at a date that I have available, choose a day, and they have that day selected. And then I just went through and just described a little bit about myself, what I'm able to go through and assist my clients with during one-on-one calls. And then I obtain some information. So I'm able to go through and I'm able to ask questions, get their name, their email address, have them check off what it is that they need, provide additional details. Now, the beauty about the lead forms, because everything is pretty much, you can do it all in one. So they're able to go through and pay for this service prior to going through and booking. Prior to lead forms, we had our schedules inside of Honeybook, but it wasn't a way for the client to go through and pay. So being that a lot of our consults that we do, they do require payment unless we're doing discovery calls. They do require payments. That wasn't something that we were able to do before, was use that system, which caused me to use 2 systems. But luckily now, with all of this built in, we're able to do everything all in one. So now the invoice is going to show up on the second page. we put our terms and conditions, and then the client is able to immediately go through and make that payment, and they book everything all in one. So this is really a game changer here as far as being able to do and streamline everything inside of your business. And then not to mention on the back end, we're able to go through and again put our clients through automation using Honeybook, which again we're going to talk about soon, but we're able to go through and add automation to this where they do get an automatic confirmation of their booking, and as well as too we can also add them into our onboarding process, or excuse me, offboarding process as well, after that consult call where they get a questionnaire and everything like that, right? So we're able to go through and streamline this process a little bit more. So how you go through and create, and pretty much these options here are pretty much the same. So no matter where you start, you can still, it just kind of gives you, generates an idea really of how you can go through and use it. So definitely choose the best option for you. But again, you can pretty much edit any of these to be exactly what it is that you wanted to do. So I'm just going to choose the one-on-one consult call. So it gives you a template here. Again, being that there's so many great templates in here, I personally just don't go through and really start from scratch in this case. I just like to build upon the template. So I will remove anything that I don't need. And of course, I will definitely go through and add it. So these are the template for this is the one-time session. Again, you want to go through and name it to whatever it is that you're going to be doing. And it works the same way as how we have like with the contact form, right? So the plus signs are still there. When you hover over each section, you can see the plus signs come up and you just hit the block. And now you have content sections and then you have action sections. So for example, we have text, we have questions, images, videos. The possibilities are endless. You can even change layouts. So like if you were to click on layouts, it shows different layouts that you can choose from. So depending on what it is that your business does, like, so for example, an image grid here. Maybe you want an image grid because maybe you're a photographer and you want to showcase a lot of your work, or maybe you need to have your clients submit something for approval or something like that, which is something more likely you might use in smart files. But again, the possibilities are endless here, like they have here, even image approval. So it really just depends on what it is that you do, but it's totally customizable. Again, you do have the action, so you can add in your services. So in video number 2, we talked about going through and setting up really the back end. Services is one of those things that you can set up on the back end before you get to this point. However, you can still do it even if you haven't set up the services. So, like, for example, if I were to hit services, I can go through and just click on add new. And these are the services that we currently have in here. But let's say that's not the service that I want to add. I can just click on start blank, and then I can start just typing in whatever service that it is that I want. Fill out the description. I can add an image. I'm just going to add just image here. You can put in whatever description you have. You can add in the amount. And from there. So that's if you need to do that in this particular scenario. So I'm going to delete this one. So if I need to delete it, but you can go through and you can add on whatever you want. Now you noticed as well too, this particular template has several pages. So these are the pages on the right hand side. You can see the pages from there. You can also see the pages from the top. So up here at the view pages, you can see the pages from the top as well too. So if you want to kind of navigate your way through the pages as well there, you certainly can. Just be sure that you go through. I like to personally kind of go through and save it. It auto saves, but I go through and I publish it because it's still not technically live. I'll go through and I'll publish it, and I'll hit preview very often as I'm going through and designing and editing. It's just something that I do, but not something that you have to do, obviously, when you're creating the form. Now, the beauty of this is because, again, you can add your scheduler. This template already has the scheduler right here built inside of it. All you need to do is just add a session. So like if I were to go through and click add a session, it's now pulling all of the sessions towards this right side. It's pulling all of the sessions that we have. And so all I need to do is just go through and just create one, or excuse me, click on one, and it's going to automatically pull it in. If I need to go through and create a new schedule, I can go through and you can create a new schedule from there as well too. But again, having those things set up prior to trying to get into the forms is definitely something that I highly recommend. And again, you would treat this form pretty much just like the contact form, really, as far as going through and just adding in your different sections. Now, one thing I do want to bring to your attention is going through and checking out your settings for each one of your forms. So at the top right, you can go through and you can configure your settings. So you have like the title of your actual form, which I recommend changing your title from like this, the one time session, actually name that session. But then you also have things like automation. So, like, for example, it has it already selected to send a confirmation email upon the form submission, and you can view that particular email of what it's going to be. However, if you don't, so if I click on this and I view it, this is what it has as that submission email. If I don't want that, I can deselect that, and then I can select this option to activate an automation upon submission. So these are all the different automations that we have, and I might say, hey, I want this form to be associated with this particular automation. So that is what you can do on the back end of your settings. And then you can also go through here. So it has a choice of where you can send your leads to a particular URL. You can send them to another URL other than like redirecting them back into like their Honeybook account. You can have it go to your website, or if there's some other page that you want them to be able to go through, you can do that right inside of lead forms. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is going to be selling your digital products using Honeybook. Now, from a person that sells a massive amount of digital products, from courses to workbooks to ebooks to checklists, I think this could possibly be like a game changer, especially for those that do not already have the learning platforms to be able to go through and sell their products. If you're already using Honeybook and you don't already have a learning platform, I feel like just dropping your digital products inside of Honeybook of something that you're already using could definitely be something that is a win-win for you. So I definitely went through and tested out this feature because I wanted to see exactly how it would look if I went through and I put in one of our digital products, which I did. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like. This is a page that we created for our super simple SEO checklist for websites. And so I went through, created a header banner, and then I just did another little block here with our company information. And I gave a little bit of description of that particular product. So people who were to visit the page, you can see, what exactly that product is about. Now, I personally like to add in a video. So I did add in just like a little screen 15-second video or whatnot of exactly what it was that product was. Let's see if it'll play through. There we go. So yeah, I went through and I added in a demonstration of basically what the product was. So you can see it's 12 pages. You can't see everything on the pages, but that's the point. I mean, just for you to be able to go through and see that the pages are there. And then we added in that product box. And so I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Honeybook has made it very simple to be able to do that. It's going to take you minutes to go through and create this, but you were able to go through and put our product here. We just put a little image of what that product looked like. And then again, first name, email address, so we know exactly where to go through and send this product. We just have a disclaimer just for them to understand this is a digital product, and it is non-refundable because it is of digital use. So we do have that here. And then it automatically has that invoice for them to go through and pay. So once they've gone through, they've added that to their cart, it has the invoice for them to go through and pay. So they would select the item and they can add multiple items. So to keep in mind that. So we just have the one item on here, but you can go through and create one page that might have like 3 items on here and allow them to be able to go through and select the digital product that they want. Now, keep in mind as well, because this feature just released through Honeybook, currently at this time of me recording this video, is that you can only add your digital products by a link. Okay. So it's going to be something that has a link. Maybe you might have a video link from Google Drive or Dropbox, or your digital product or something is in Google Drive or Dropbox. That is how you can add your digital product. But me personally, I always keep all of my products inside of Google Drive anyway, and then put it upload it to whatever learning management system that I'm already using, but I store all of my products inside of Google Drive anyway. So that really wasn't a big deal, even when doing this. All right, so then they get the next, then they go to next, the invoice. So as you see, when I added that to the cart, it created this invoice based off of the selection. And this is in preview mode. It based off of the selection that it went ahead and added in that product. So again, you can add more than just one product on the page. And then once the invoice is generated, then they come to that next screen and then it automatically gives them that card, the option for them to be able to go through and pay. So Honeybook has made it pretty easy for you to be able to go through and create or sell your digital product right inside of their system. And I'm pretty sure that as time goes by, like I said, this feature just released, but as time goes by, that they're going to be enhancing the system and creating more streamlined and better workflow around that as well too. So, but right now it's looking pretty good to me. So, how you go through and create that is you would use a lead form. So currently right now it's only available through doing it through lead forms. You're going to go to create new. And there is already a template for it. So when you go down, create new, just click on digital product, and there's already a template in here. So I'm just going to click on edit this template. And then it has digital products, and that's where you can go through and you can add. So they're giving you the directions for it. Go through, select the outline, toggle, add the product link on and the URL. And then, of course, you delete those instructions. But as I mentioned before, see, you can see here that you can add in more than just that one product. So even though we had one, you can add in more and you can name the product. So as you hover over it, it allows for you to be able to go through and edit it. If you needed to go through and add or edit anything over here, you certainly can. And then over to the right is where you make your changes as far as like adding in your price and adding in the link to your digital product as well. So over here to your right, you will see where you can put the price. So let's say I wanted to edit this and I wanted to make this $100. So you can make it $100. And then you have this section here where digital products, this is where you can sell digital products online by adding a link to for your client to be able to access it after they go through and make their payment. So after they make their payment, they get a confirmation page and then it allows for them to be able to download it from that confirmation page as well. And you simply toggle. So right now that was toggled on. I'm going to toggle it back on and then you just put in your URL. And again, what they recommend is something like a Dropbox or a Google Drive link, etc. So it does have to be a link at this point in time. You're not able to go through and upload anything inside of here. So it does have to be that. You can edit anything inside this section as well, just like how you would do in any other contact form, lead form, is that you can go through and you can edit like the images, you can edit these things are actually view only, these here that are actually like the image and things like that. But you can update and change like the item background and this type of information as well too inside of for your blocks. Now it does have these different service selections. So with ours, we just did the select one, but this one has select multiple, which you can have that as a service selection as well to allow people to be able to select multiple. You can also do view only. Selection is required, meaning that somebody goes here, they are required to actually make a selection in order to be able to move through. You have your client selection summaries. So like when we open that up, the clients can view a summary of their selections via the navigation bar. So they will be able to do that. And you even have an edit option where you can go through and you can edit those particular things as well too. So what the next button looks like, what the cart button looks like. Is it going to be a cart? Is it going to be like a list? Show summary total. You have the free range to kind of make those adjustments as you want. And again, you would do this the same way. So you would put in your products that you have, add your links, any type of additional questions that you want to add on this. So the first name and email address, that's something that's required. So you can go through and send the form out to send out digital product to the person that paid for it. But if you need to add any blocks or any additional questions, you can add blocks, you can add schedulers, you can add anything else to be able to sell that product. Okay, friends, I hope that you found that walkthrough helpful and it helped you to understand the difference between lead forms, contact forms, and how you can start making some extra money using Honeybook to sell your digital products. So, if you want to learn more about how to streamline your online business using Honeybook, then continue to follow along in this YouTube series because video number 4 is going to release next Thursday. And we're going to get a little bit deeper into the streamline and automation part of using Honeybook. So I am looking forward to sharing that video with you. Now, if you have any questions about Honeybook or any questions about this video, be sure to drop those comments and questions in the description box below, and I would do my best to answer each one of those questions. And if you have been thinking about giving Honeybook a try, I do have 50% off my first or your first year of Honeybook. The link to that and all additional resources and videos that you may have missed are going to be in the description box below. And don't forget to go back in case you missed it to watch this video on the 3 steps to streamline your client workflows because you're going to need that information, that video, for us to talk about automation. It's going to help you to get a little bit more clarity and help you to be able to automate your business a little bit more once you have done and completed those particular steps. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.